Okay, some breaking news coming in the last couple of minutes or so, and it regards to a very senior figure behind the scenes in Impact Wrestling, that being Tommy Dreamer, because Impact Wrestling's Ed Nordholm has issued an email to the company roster and staff today announcing that Tommy Dreamer has been suspended indefinitely going forward. Now, in the email, Nordholm stated that the company was made aware of comments that Dreamer made on last night's Dark Side of the Ring episode, and they were, quote, out of line with our core values, end quote, as a company. Now, in the episode, which aired on Vice TV last night, Dreamer commented on the allegations made about Ric Flair on the infamous plane ride from hell 20 years ago for WWE. Nordholm stated Dreamer was, quote, asked to leave effective immediately, end quote, from Nashville, Tennessee, and was suspended going forward. Nordholm also asked that if anyone had any concerns or questions to approach Gail Kim, Scott D'Amore, or himself. Now, on top of this, Impact Wrestling did release a statement addressing people that had asked questions about Tommy Dreamer after those statements made by last night on Dark Side of the Ring, and I will get to that in a second. But this is the statement that they have posted out to numerous wrestling websites and media outlets that have contacted them today. It said, quote, we are aware of Mr. Lachlan, bracket Tommy Dreamer, comments on Dark Side of the Ring. The views expressed by him in the interview are completely unacceptable. We can confirm Mr. Lachlan was suspended this morning with immediate effect, pending further action. Now, when it comes to this Dark Side of the Ring episode, I knew that Dark Side of the Ring was coming back after its mid-season break. I was excited because I'm a big fan of the program. I'm a big fan of every single episode that they've done, frankly. I think it's some of the best, not just pro wrestling television, some of the best television out there right now. Every single documentary, especially considering the subject matter, is handled so well and so tastefully, and it's a tremendously put together program, and I know the producers of the program do an excellent job. The plane ride from hell is incredibly infamous, and lots of people have heard about it. There have been lots of stories said about it over the years, so I was interested to see it. Now, last night, I went to bed, and I woke up this morning, and I saw just Twitter just exploded with all of these people talking about the episode. There had been some rumblings that there were going to be some allegations made or sort of picked back up when it came to Ric Flair from the episode, and they indeed were discussed on the episode last night. But a lot of people, in addition to talking about Ric Flair, were talking about Tommy Dreamer for his comments during the episode. And frankly, you know, as someone that covers a lot of Impact Wrestling here on the channel, they were horrific. Absolutely horrific. Absolutely, you know, horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. Now, as I mentioned, Ric Flair was trending on Twitter since last night's Dark Side of the Ring Season 3B premiere episode, which told the story of WWE's infamous plane ride from hell that took place on May 5th, 2002. Now, the episode included a story about how Flair allegedly exposed himself to a flight attendant. Flair was later sued in 2004 by two flight attendants on the flight. These were Taralyn Capilano and Heidi Doyle. Doyle actually appeared on Dark Side of the Ring and talked about Flair's behavior. And I'm not going to say what she said, but the account is pretty horrific and pretty horrendous. It really is. Now, it was noted in the episode how Flair has denied the allegations in the past, and a settlement was reached between the plaintiffs and WWE. A Grantland.com article on Flair in 2011 provided the following details from the original lawsuit. It goes into talk about, again, the incident, allegedly how it took place. Also spoke about Scott Hall, who also was is alleged to have done just some horrific acts during it. Absolutely. But this is where Tommy Dreamer comes into it. So the allegations are there, and they're horrifying as it is, and it really is startling, to be honest with you, because, again, the plane ride from hell is infamous, but people have almost kind of joked about how bad and debauchery, all that kind of stuff that it was. But Tommy Dreamer's comments on it were horrific, absolutely horrific. He gained significant social media heat after how he appeared on Dark Side of the Ring and how he defended Ric Flair, and it really appeared to make light of the incident, which just was so wrong. So this is some of the quotes that Dreamer was saying. Quotes, he could move his hips, twirl it, and make it spin around like a helicopter. So, hey, he's the nature boy for a reason. He's got a hammer on him. Ric Flair's not going to try and impose by force any stuff on anybody. He's just flaunting, styling and profiling, doing the Ric Flair stuff where everybody's going to laugh about it. But obviously someone took offense to it. And again, it was some of these things. And then he goes on to say that people take offense that I've got a double ponytail and people can get offended. And it wasn't harassment. It was just a joke. It was just a gag. And people are taking it too seriously and all this kind of stuff. And like everyone else, when I heard Tommy Dreamer make those comments, I went, one, they are completely tone deaf, and two, they're just wrong. They're just wrong. It's not Tommy Dreamer's decision to decide what is a joke and what isn't. Maybe in the mind of Ric Flair and Tommy Dreamer and everyone else on that flight, which was just, again, some of the stuff they were doing was horrible. In their mind, maybe it was a joke and it's all a big laugh. But to that flight attendant, it wasn't a joke. And to be cornered and be forced to put your hands on someone, all that kind of stuff, it's horrible. And for Tommy Dreamer is specifically the exact problem with these kind of allegations, is that people, when they come out, they come out and they say, look, I was uncomfortable with that and I said no, and then they did it anyway and all this kind of stuff. Tommy Dreamer is part of the problem in these kind of things when he goes, oh, it was just a joke, it was just a gag, you've got it wrong. Really? Well, because he's Ric Flair, that's what he does. It doesn't make it right. And it's not up for Tommy Dreamer to say whether it's right or wrong. Okay? For him just to trivialize it, wow, all this kind of stuff, it's just ridiculous. And when I was saying this, I couldn't believe what he was saying. It was archaic wrestling BS. That's what he was trying to say. Well, the boys are being the boys. Don't sell it. So it doesn't matter. It's just pro wrestling at the end of the day. Get over it. It's ridiculous stuff. And when he was saying that, again, I was thinking like, if you were an Impact Wrestling talent or you're an Impact Wrestling executive, you must be watching that going, this is the guy. This really is the guy that's going to be helping with our creative behind the scenes. Tommy Dreamer is a very influential figure. Very, very influential figure. Especially now that Don Callis left Impact Wrestling as well. I don't know if he took Don Callis' spot, but seriously, he was, in a very senior position. I don't know if he was an executive, but he certainly was in a senior role there. And again, the comments that he was making was just so wrong and so tone deaf and just bad. So bad. I mean, seriously, comparing having a ponytail, saying that that's just as offensive as someone accusing someone of exposing themselves to someone and potentially assault. Are you kidding me? So again, Tommy Dreamer his comments were just, I don't really know what more to say. I felt so bad for the women that were on that flight anyway. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And what kind of bubble does he live in? That would be an acceptable attitude to express on a broadcast. It's one thing to have those views and to keep it to yourself, but it's another to put it out there into the media. That's, she's just making a big deal out of it, and it's just Ric Flair being Ric Flair, and some people are going to be offended by a joke. That's not a joke. That's hardly a comedian going up on stage and telling a bit of a racy joke. We're talking assault here, and it doesn't matter how long ago it happened, or it was a different time, or it was just Ric Flair. It doesn't matter. Again, that's not Tommy Dreamer's decision to make. And to play down someone who went home after that flight and went in the shower and cried, according to her. She went into the shower and cried because of the incident that took place. And what Tommy Dreamer's response is going to be, I've got a ponytail. People find that offensive, so people have different definitions of what offensive is. It's horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. And in reality, I don't see how he can come back from it. I really don't. I know he's been suspended now, but how do you come back from that? Especially when you're in a position of power. When you're in a position of power in that company in Impact Wrestling, and you're writing the shows, coming up with creative, producing segments, and you're a senior figure, how can anyone on that roster look at Tommy Dreamer and be like, I don't want to work for this guy? Why would I want to take instruction from this guy? The guy's a dinosaur. He's awful. He just killed his career in 5 minutes on Vice Television, and for no reason otherwise. He just exposed who he really is. That's exactly what it is. So he's been suspended indefinitely. Again, this is a story that was, breaking throughout the day. Fightful Select posted the following story as well, saying, quote, Fightful has learned that at the production meeting today, because of course there is Impact Wrestling television tapings happening today, At this production meeting today, staff was informed that Tommy Dreamer would not be at the weekend's Nashville tapings. Dreamer appeared on last night's Dark Side of the Ring, where he recounted the events of the plane ride from Hell, brushing off Ric Flair's behavior during the event, saying it was simply a joke, among other things. Fightful were not told of his role going forward and how it is affected, but of course now we know that he has indeed been suspended, and rightfully so. And that's it, and rightfully so. And again, Ric Flair is having lots of allegations thrown at him now. And again, if they are true, then rightfully so. That's that you can't run from that kind of stuff forever. And again, I find it absolutely staggering that Tommy Dreamer just kind of tried to brush it off as a joke. Oh, it's just a joke. It's just pro wrestling. Oh, he's just Ric Flair. That's what Ric Flair does. Well, it doesn't matter if that's what Ric Flair does. What he's doing is wrong. What he did is wrong. And if you think that, oh, it's just a joke or it's just a gag, or some people get offended by little things like me having a ponytail. Really? Comparing your hairstyle. You're in, his 50s or his late 40s, and he's saying my hairstyle is just as offensive as assault? It was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And it's people like that, and it's people with those kind of opinions that brush this kind of stuff off, is why people are afraid to come forward. You know, we've had this. How many times have we seen this now with the Me Too movement or the Speaking Out movement, where people finally have the courage to say, this happened to me and this was wrong. And at the time, I was too scared to come out because of the stigma related to it, or I didn't think people would believe me. People like Tommy Dreamer making comments like this, they're part of the problem. Going, no, not only, well, it might have happened. It's not saying I don't believe you, but you just get offended too easily. Or you just get offended too easily. Or it's just a joke. You don't get the joke. Or boo-hoo. And again, these are flight attendants. Tommy Dreamer at this point is a pro wrestler. He might not have made loads of money, but he's a wealthy man. And he's a famous celebrity. And what, he thinks he can get away with it? Oh, it's just pro wrestling. And I'm sure, don't get me wrong, he was in an ECW locker room, and I'm sure plenty of stuff like that happened in the day. And I'm sure really maybe even worse stuff like that happened in the day. But it doesn't make it right, and it doesn't give you the right to defend it. Someone who did actually come across well in that episode last night was Rob Van Dam. Because he was very open. He said, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. And it made me embarrassed and ashamed. I don't want to see pro wrestlers do that because I'm a pro wrestler. And it's not right. So don't try and play up as well that, oh, well, it's just the culture. It's just the culture. And people they accept it. Well, no, because people in that culture, like RVD, are saying it's not right. Other people in that episode were saying it's not right as well. So don't give me Tommy Dreamer, oh, it's just the culture, I don't know any better, because you do. You do know better, and it was grotesque. Absolutely grotesque. And Impact Wrestling are absolutely right to suspend him, and obviously it'll be something that continues going forward. A couple of things I do want to talk about today before we wrap things up. Rhino, since we're talking about Impact Wrestling, has signed a new Impact contract. Veteran pro wrestler, a member of the Impact Wrestling roster, Rhino, has re-signed with Impact Wrestling. There's no word yet on the length of the contract, but PW Insider is reporting that just recently the two sides agreed on new contract terms. Now, Rhino was previously a member of the Violent by Design stable with Eric Young, but he got kicked out last night, didn't he, on Impact Wrestling. The group did hold the Impact World Tag Team titles for 61 days this past summer before dropping them to the Good Brothers at Slammiversary. Now, this new deal comes after Rhino returned to Impact on July 7, 2019 at Slammiversary, while still actually under contract, wasn't he, to WWE at the time. His WWE contract expired on July 17, but WWE reportedly knew about the Slammiversary appearance, which was done in all black and under a mask, and they had no issue with it. It was reported at the time that Rhino had turned down a new contract from WWE, which included more than double what his downside guarantee was. Rhino said he wanted to leave because he wasn't being used and because of his new Big Daddy's Boatyard business. Now, I think good for Rhino. Good for Rhino. I think that he'll be. I don't really know what's going on with Rhino. Again, he turned heel, joined Violent by Design. Now he's left, and I guess they're just waiting for Heath to come back, and then Heath and Rhino will join up. I guess maybe, and then feud with Violent by Design. Maybe that's the way to go. I always thought that Heath was going to come back, and then Heath was going to feud with everyone, including Rhino and Violent by Design, considering that Violent by Design took Heath out. But that's the thing. Like, maybe they'll do a thing like of Heath coming back being like, how can I trust you? They took me out and then you joined them. And that doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? But, good for Rhino. Good for Rhino. And even at his advanced age, he still does have, I say advanced stage, but even still at his advanced stage in his career, shall we say, he still does have a lot to offer, certainly. And interested to see what they do with him and Violent by Design. I was a big fan, and I still am a big fan of the faction. I think it's lost a bit of steam. I don't know if necessarily it was the right call for them to drop the Impact Tag Team titles so quickly after they won them. I say so quickly, I mean, it was 61 days, it was 2 months, but there was much more they could have done, but They obviously decided to put the belts back on the Good Brothers because they got to justify that money that they're paying on the Good Brothers, right, on their big hefty contract. So I guess that's the situation there. But good for Rhino. Rhino sticking around in Impact Wrestling more going forward. We have some more matches announced for Victory Road, which of course is tomorrow, Saturday. I will be doing a Victory Road watch-along on Impact Plus. I will also be doing a Victory Road post-show tomorrow. So if you do enjoy the Impact Wrestling content, be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Smash a like on the like button as well for this video too. But I will be doing a Victory Road watch-along and post-show. The Impact Wrestling watch-alongs are always a lot of fun. We get a really good crowd in and a lot of great discussion. And sometimes we're not even really watching the product that much. We're just chatting and talking and doing stuff about life and all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of fun. So we'll be doing that tomorrow, so be sure to keep your eyes peeled for that one. But 4 more matches have been added to Impact's Victory Road event on Saturday. Rich Swann and Willie Mack will receive a second chance at challenging for the Good Brothers Impact World Tag Team Championships. This comes after Swann and Mack won a championship contenders match against the champions last month. Frustrated over their loss, the Good Brothers put Mack through a table after their match. Mack has been out of action for the past 3 weeks, but last night Willie Mack made his return on Impact, confirming he's ready for this title shot. Mack and Swann and Violent by Design unsuccessfully challenged the Good Brothers for their titles in a triple threat match at Impact Emergence last month. Additionally, Matt Cardona will put his rivalry with Rohit Raju to bed in a no disqualification match. Earlier this month, Raju planted a jumping knee on Chelsea Green during their mixed tag team match, and since then, Rohit Raju can't stop teasing Green and Cardona about it. Now Cardona will get a chance to avenge Green's injury by squaring up with Raju on Saturday. Also announced for the show, Taylor Wilde will square off against Tennille Dashwood, and Steve Macklin, TJP, and PT Williams will do battle in a triple threat match. So here's the card as of right now. Obviously, you have the main event, the Impact World Championship match, which is actually going to be filmed over the course of the next few days at the Impact Wrestling television tapings. It's going to be Christian Cage versus Ace Austin versus for the Impact World Championship, rather. You're going to have the X Division title on the line, Josh Alexander versus Chris Sabin. You've got the Impact World Tag Team titles on the line, the Good Brothers versus Rich Swann and Willie Mack. You've got the Knockouts Tag Team Championships on the line. You've got the Decay, which of course is Havoc and Rosemary against Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans. Eddie Edwards is teaming up with Sami Callihan to face Moose and W. Morrissey. You've got Finn Juice to face Hikuleu and Chris Bay of the Bullet Club. You've got that aforementioned no disqualification match with Matt Cardona versus Rohit Raju. Steve Macklin versus TJP versus PT Williams. And Taylor Wilde versus Tennille Dashwood. So a big card. Certainly a very, very big card. They do tend to have big cards for these Impact Plus specials, but also they don't tend to go super, super long. They're just under like 3 hours. So I'll be doing a watch long for it tomorrow and a post show as well. So excited to see you all there too. Finally, we were speaking about Knockouts Knockdown the other day, and Impact Wrestling has announced the announce team for the upcoming Knockouts Knockdown special event. As previously noted, the all-women's event will be taped this weekend in Nashville to air on Saturday, October 9. And I think that's a good point as well. Again, with Tommy Dreamer's comments as well, they've just announced Impact Wrestling that they're going to be doing an all-female-led event. And you've got Tommy Dreamer making these comments essentially about females on Dark Side of the Ring. How can he be in that environment right now? He can't. He absolutely can't. And again, if a company's trying to promote that we're doing an equality event, it's having an all-female event, all-female-led, and you've got him making these comments as well, it just flies in the face of all of that. Like I said, I don't see how he can come back from it. I really can't. I can't. Especially when they're taping it this weekend. Not a bad thing at all for him not to be there, and to be honest, never to come back. But in an update, Impact Wrestling has announced that Melissa Santos, who of course has been in the news recently for her comments about her husband Brian Cage, will be the ring announcer for the Knockouts Knockdown event. Mickey James and Vida Scott will be at the commentary table, with James serving as the color commentator, with Scott doing play-by-play. I'm really happy about this because I mentioned this the other day when we spoke about the Knockouts Knockdown event. That's one of my biggest pet peeves with, say, Evolution, is that you had Michael Cole on commentary for it. If you're going to do an all-female event, do an all-female event. And Vida Scott's great. She did the women's tag team tournament in AEW last year, and she was very, very good at it. She's really, really good at it. So I think her and Mickey James will do a great job. And again, if you're going to do an all-female event, do an all-female event. Have everyone involved. So I think that's absolutely the right call. Of course, Knockouts Knockdown will be headlined by a Monsters Ball match to pay tribute to former WCW and TNA star Daphne. Christy Hemme will also have a, quote, major role, end quotes, on the show, but details have yet to be announced about that. And former NXT superstar Mercedes Martinez will be making her Impact debut on the card as well. So a pretty stacked card, a pretty stacked event, and a lot going on in Impact Wrestling at the moment. But I think they've made the right call about Tommy Dreamer. Again, I just don't see how he can come back from his comments last night, in my opinion, and they were absolutely horrendous. But look, guys, as always, it's just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on all of these Impact Wrestling news stories we've spoken about today? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll do my best to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys, talking about WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, all things pro wrestling here on the channel. So be sure to get involved with the community, drop a comment below. All opinions are welcome. If you have enjoyed this video, please do smash a like on the like button too. Really does help us out here on YouTube, got the rankings, and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestling News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right-hand corner of the screen right now, or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video, along with another video for you to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or have you come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.